If I taper off at some point, it's because I am literally dying. But I'm here with you guys, and I want to make sure that I didn't miss this for you. So we look like we are live. So we're gonna go back to the PowerPoint. I'm gonna read the disclosure, which states the Boston Real Estate Investor Association assumes no liability or responsibility for the outcome of any real estate transaction, decision, or other action that any Boston RIA member or visitor enter into as a result of attending any meeting, listening to any guest speaker, or talking to any Boston RIA member, guest, visitor, or persons. Put your hands to the camera if you agree, and throw the word yes in the chat if you agree that if you make a mistake, it's your fault. We're going to give you the best advice that we possibly can, but this is not financial advice. This is simply real estate advice. This is not investing advice. This is how to, what we have done. What may work for you may be different. So keep that in mind, bear that in mind as you're making decisions. You are an adult, and if something goes wrong, it is your fault. Again, Boston RIA, the largest trade association of real estate investors in the US. Here are some of our partners. Maybe you recognize some of them. Some of the partners that Sarah was talking about, sometimes we meet them live, is Rent Perfect. I'm sorry, not Rent Perfect. Here they are. Universal Capital. We've seen them live at the events. JM Capital, they come in every so often. But we have a lot of investors and a lot of partners who you don't see them all the time. And if you don't use them, if you don't leverage them, it's your loss because you're getting access to a lot of free resources. This slide is in here because we've got an event coming up, the 100 Millionaire Summit. This is for real estate investors who are looking to set a target, set a goal, and attain that goal in the next 12 months. If you're looking to become a millionaire and you haven't hit $500,000, look, you're not going to get it done this year, right? I mean, there's a chance you could be a unicorn, but if you're looking to make $1 million and you're looking to do it over the next 3 to 5 years, the 100 Millionaire Summit's going to set you up with a plan to get there. And the Boston RIA is throwing in a ticket for you. One free ticket for the members who sign up tonight. They're going to get access to the 100 Millionaire Summit. So let's give everybody who signs up a round of applause. And if you're on the fence, weren't sure if you should sign up for the membership for the Boston RIA, well, now you have a very clear reason to do it. These tickets are $1,000 each, but we're giving them away because the Boston RIA said anybody who commits to the membership, can you give them a discount? And I said, yeah, if you cover the other half. And so the Boston RIA agreed that they would cover the other half of the ticket. So I will be speaking at the 100 Millionaire Summit. This is going to be in Orlando, October 22nd to the 24th. We've got these other 9 millionaires who will be speaking at the event. You can see Dorina is actually on the list as well. Don't worry, she's also got COVID, so she'll be perfectly safe by the time we get there. The two of us are going through it together. So 100 Millionaires Summit. Wear masks, don't wear masks. We really don't care. This is Florida. This is Orlando. Next. The blank screen of networking. Drop in the chat what you do if you are looking for property, if you're looking for deals, if you're looking for money. This is your chance to drop that information in the chat. Oh, this is a cool. Okay, this is, again, the 100 Millionaire Summit. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So free ticket for jumping in with the Boston RIA tonight. And Kelly, can you just drop your number again in the chat if somebody wanted to get registered as a member? Awesome. That's for everybody online. 864-906-4111. Text Kelly at 864-906-4111 and ask her, how do I become a member? How do I become a member of the Boston RIA and get all those discounts and get my ticket to the 100 Millionaire Summit? All right, Boston RIA networking. So this is what I was looking for. Use the Zoom chat to put your needs and wants. Have needs and wants in the chat. These are things that you're looking for, things that you have. Focus on real estate, please. Deals or opportunities. make sure that you have a way for somebody to contact you. Make sure your number is in there or your email address is in there, and make sure you have a description of what you're looking for. So if, for example, I'm a real estate investor in Fall River, Massachusetts. So I am looking for 3 families in the city of Fall River. If you have 3 families or 6 families, I'm buying. My contact information, go to my website, gualteramarelo.com. You can just fill out a form on there and send me your deals. So that would be my easiest way of putting my contact. So make sure that you're clear about what you've got, clear about what you want, and clear about how they can contact you. This is your chance. Awesome. I see the chat is filling up. Excellent, 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 excellent. You guys can keep using that while we continue through the slide. The Boston Real Estate Investors Newsletter is a powerful tool. It's a resource. Also, you're going to get access to deals in that newsletter. So make sure that you do sign up. You can go to www.bostonrealestateinvestorsassociation.com to register for the mailing list. And in that mailing list, you're going to get access to deals, access to events that are coming up, access to new opportunities and things that are only available to members only. So the newsletter is a very valuable resource for anybody who's following in the Boston market, wants to stay up to date, keep in touch with the community, and get access to off-market deals in your market. So make sure that you do get registered up online. Go to bostonrealestateinvestorsassociation.com and sign up. Just put your email address in and you will become part of the newsletter. They're also social. In fact, we're online right now. We're streaming across, it looks like 4 or 5 different platforms. I want to say accurately, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. Nope, not TikTok, Twitter, and Roku. So we're across a lot of different live platforms. Make sure you're following us on Facebook or Twitter. We're active on both platforms. Ask questions. That's what the Facebook groups are all about, is asking questions. There's a lot of information that gets posted out there. Make sure that you're asking questions. Use the forum, post your deals. Just make sure they're deals in Boston. If they're outside of the Boston area, it just doesn't make sense for us to be posting them there. Hands to the camera if you commit to only posting good deals in the Boston market. That makes sense. Awesome. And if you're a buyer, then you definitely want to be involved. And are you new to real estate investing? Let us help you get started making money on your first deal. Join the Boston RIA tonight. Again, Kelly's got her information in the chat. Make sure to shoot her a text and ask her how to get set up. Successful people show up. Successful people take action. The All-Star membership includes free entrance to the monthly real estate main events, free entrance to subgroup meetings, the Home Depot 2% rebate program, exclusive members benefits, discounted workshops, and more, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. Learn the sport, be a player, join tonight, and get the mega bonus, the 100 Millionaire Summit. We already did the Home Depot, so we'll just skip right through this one. And here again, more of the vendors. I promised, I told you I would talk about some of the vendors. Here are some more. You might want to grab a screenshot for any members who just forgot some of their benefits. Here they are. And again, the cost is minimal. We're talking small money, small investment, yearly membership, $280 per single person. And if you're a couple, $380. We believe that couples should get a discount for operating together, and it should be encouraged that you bring your spouse to these events so that you be on the same page. And again, you can reach out to Kelly at 864-906-4111. Just text Kelly membership RIA or text her mega bonus. All right. So who's that handsome looking gentleman? Tonight's speaker, I present myself. I was speaking on the 3 secrets that work in every market to get started on real estate investing. These are 3 secrets I discovered as an investor myself, looking to buy real estate and struggling with the process. And what I found was something simple that does work every single time in every single market. Darina, can we get, looks like we only have 15 panelists. Is it possible to get more panelists in here?
Yes, we are working on it. Every panelist would have to say, yes, I would like to become a panelist when I send them an invite.
Excellent. For all the panelists who already are in, let's turn those cameras on. It's quite boring if I just look at myself, although I could see Kelly and I could see Sarah and Jeremy. Let's give Jeremy a round of applause. And Darina, it does help to see a couple of faces. If that's all I see, I'm going to assume that everybody else is sleeping and I could just sign off and go back to sleeping myself, which with COVID, I'm very tempted to do that right now. So show me a little support. Show me that you're here. I will stay on the call. I will teach my principles so you too can become a millionaire, build some wealth, maybe buy some of this stuff, and retire young, retire rich. So when COVID does hit, you really don't give a shit. You're not missing work. Hanson Kim, if you know, I don't work for anybody. There's no boss over my head. Excellent. Very smart. That's true. So when COVID, when it finally got me, I didn't affect my life whatsoever, other than I got sick and I didn't have to call out and worry about medical bills. In fact, my mother said something very interesting. She said, honey, it's okay. You don't have to worry about the medical bills. They're going to pay for it. The government pays for it. I told mom, I was like, Mom, I got fucking 250,000 sitting in the bank. If I have to go and pay $200 to see the doctor, I'm going to be okay. It's quite all right. And there's another $250,000 coming in right behind it. So we're fine financially, Mom. And she's like, well, but you don't have to spend money. That's how you spend most of your life thinking, right? Hence again, if you recognize, that's how we spend our time thinking most of our lives, worried about money, worried about the cost of things, worried about, when you don't have to worry about the cost of things, you just go and fix stuff. Yeah, I found out what was wrong. I went and I bought the stuff and I slept it off. It turns out the secret to COVID, you need to sleep. You need to sleep a lot. You need to hydrate. You need to hydrate a lot. And then take Tylenol because everything hurts. And if you could do that long enough and breathe, and by the way, Mucinex, here's a pro tip before we get into real estate. Pro tip, day 4, you're going to want Mucinex. It's like, just clear out the lungs. And hands camera if you've caught COVID yet. Anybody got it yet? Okay. So you know what I'm talking about, right, Deshaun? It's like brutal, but then 2 weeks later, you're like, okay, I guess that wasn't too bad. I survived it. It was survivable. I'm 7 days in, and I'm right at that point where I believe that's possible. Right. Still suffering a little bit. All right. So why should you listen to me? Before I even jump into who I am, what we're doing, I want to give you a quick little synopsis of what tonight looks like. I'm going to teach you 3 secrets. These are 3 secrets for real estate, very specific to real estate. And it works in any class of real estate. It works in any niche of real estate. It works in any market of real estate. Because I've been asked, does this work in a hot market? Yes, it does. Does this work in the Midwest? Of course. Yes, it does. Does it work with condos? If I do condos, does it work if I do Airbnb? Yes. These 3 strategies will help you break into any market, any niche, anywhere in the country. Hands to the camera if you are interested in learning how to break into real estate anywhere in the country. Excellent. Now, what this is not a specific detailed list, or I'm not going to teach you how to evaluate ARV. If you don't know how to evaluate after repair value, please Google it. It's the simplest thing to learn. Hands to the camera if you recognize after repair value can be learned, it can be Googled. Yes, in fact, if you want a quick ARV, just go to Zillow. Zillow typically is providing the ARV. It's typically providing, if you do your renovation right and you get to a good status, the Zillow estimate of that property when you buy it is probably the ARV. And fear from that 5-10%. It's not going to be much. I'm not going to teach you the specifics of how to flip. I'm not going to tell you, how to call a contractor or to go and get 3 quotes, which by the way, write this down. Everybody needs to get 3 quotes. No matter what you're doing in real estate, 3 quotes, all of it. And anytime you think, well, do I need 3 quotes? Yes. Whether you're a landlord, whether you're flipping, whether you're just buying furniture for your Airbnbs, get 3 quotes. It's not going to hurt you. It's just going to put you in a more effective financial situation. Hands to camera if that makes sense. We agree? Excellent. These are basics. This is, 101. I've bought and sold hundreds of pieces of real estate as an agent, as an investor, and as a partner for other people. I have been a lender on deals. I've borrowed a lot of money. I've borrowed millions of dollars from other investors. In fact, in one deal, I raised over $1 million. Hands to the camera if you've been told you could buy deals with no money. Who believes that's true? Who still believes it's true? Yes, it still works. It still works. I've done it. In fact, I haven't put any of my own money into the deals I've done in the last 4 years. And not because I don't have money. It's because I'm a real estate investor. I like to use other people's money. Here's the other thing that I think is really important to learn. You're going to discover that at some point, you're not going to have money. That's how real estate works. We take all of our cash, we get it, and then we go and we buy real estate with it. And then we don't have cash anymore. And then we're broke again. And so learning how to raise capital, learning how to buy houses with money, other people's money, is going to be an asset for you. You're going to need to learn this. It's never going to go away. When people think that rich people are sitting on a bunch of cash, that's only rappers. And rappers are only sitting on that cash for a few minutes before the strippers sitting on that cash. Does that make sense? The cash doesn't last very long. Cash comes in, cash goes out. That's how cash works. So rich people don't sit on cash. In fact, the billionaires' cash position is less than 1%. The average billionaire's cash position is less than 1%. So if your whole net worth is $10,000, imagine this. A millionaire would be sitting on $100. If your whole net worth is $10,000, 1% would be $100. That's what a billionaire would be sitting on. Does that make sense? So we don't sit on a bunch of cash. So if we're not sitting on a bunch of cash, how is it we're buying a bunch of real estate? We think into the future. That's the difference. We think in the future. We're acquiring cash and we're acquiring the asset at the same time. It's not the other way around. It's not, let me go and get money and then buy an asset. It's let me get the asset and then that's how I raise the money. That's how I justify it. Okay. These are just basics that I'm not going to go through. So understand, I do teach a lot of those things. They're more specific questions. They're more specific to the investor that I talk a lot about in my mentorship. When I talk to my students, we go deeper in specifically what you need for your niche. Secret number 1, you got to have a problem. So secret number 1 is your personality. You got to know yourself. You got to know who you are and how you're coming into this game. And if you don't understand you, man, you're going to make mistakes, right? Like you've heard of fear and greed. Fear and greed are the cause of the market. Who's heard that? When the market's fearful, be greedy. When the market's greedy, be fearful. It's Warren Buffett. So emotion controls the marketplace. So who are you as an investor? Who are you in this game? How do you show up emotionally? Know your personality. And I promise, man, trust me when I say this, anything I talk about in real estate has this kind of emotional approach to it. It's because logically, you know all the stuff, right? Logically, you know you buy low, sell high. Hands to the camera, we agree that's how this works. It's not a complex game. And yet, for some reason, you don't own the real estate I own. For some reason, you weren't there buying the properties when I was buying the properties. The difference is because I got past my emotional stuff and I just took action. I just went and I said, yep, I'm buying this. And I had confidence and I moved on it and I put my team behind it. And I didn't have dollars, I didn't have money, but I went and I raised money because I had a contract. And because I had a contract, I knew I could raise. Does that make sense? It's not that I knew anything. I didn't know anything you don't know, right? Who's heard of wholesaling? Who's heard of wholesaling? You understand the concept, right? Get it under contract, sell the contract to somebody else for more. This is not, these are the concepts don't change. The more experience you get in wholesaling, the less you even need to know that. The more you need to have confidence and show up. Does that make sense? So you're going to hear me talk a lot about real mindset stuff. You're going to hear me talk a lot about physically doing, because like you can just Google the stuff. You could Google the how. You could text, like for my students, anybody in the mentorship, they can just text me, hey, how do I do this? The answer, I've written the blog on it before. I've written the book on it before. So it's not like the how stuff is just, that's easy. What's stopping you is the emotional stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is that okay? Awesome. And by the way, here's a fun one. How you do anything is how you do everything. It'll help in your personal life too. How you do anything is how you do everything. That's actually a nugget you might want to write down. So the 4 personalities, the 4 investor personalities. You've got the managing investor. So this is the managing investor. This is the person who you've probably found in your life that you're really good at telling people what to do. You seem to know, you have a clear vision of what the future looks like. And although you don't want to physically do the work yourself, you could tell who to do what, and they would get it all done. And you know, it would be done properly by telling the right people to do it. Hands to camera if you may relate to that personality type. Okay. Excellent. Managing investor. Then you got the influential investor. The influential investor basically just wants to have fun. Investing for the sake of investing. We're talking, this is the HGTV kind of investor. They probably even have their real estate license because they like people that much. They just love the idea of being out there, influencing, and they're more excited about decorating the house than the profit that they're going to make. You know, they still want to make profit. We all do. They're investors. But the influential investor is all about the connections, the people involved, like letting people know what's going on. And they're just a really, I'd say they're the more fun of all of us. Love them, you know, and for our analytical investors, we may not understand them, but the influential investors are a lot of fun. The service investor is all about just doing the job the right way. It's about the community. It's about the family. They're investing not necessarily to show off how much they have. They're investing so that they can have a legacy for their family, so that their family is safe. You know, financially, they want to be able to be there for their family. In fact, you've heard me say family like 3 or 4 times. Family is important to the service investor. And that's like all that matters to them. When they think about the deal they're about to do, they think, how does this affect my family? How does this have an impact on my spouse or my kids? Will this, you know, put them in a better situation or not? And then you get the analytical investor. And the analytical investor has a very intelligent way of looking at real estate. It's numbers. It's a numbers game to them. They're completely unemotional. Family isn't really the main factor for them. And it certainly isn't ego. It's just, they just see the numbers and they say real estate makes sense. And an analytical investor is a numbers person. They evaluate the deal. Their only problem would be that they evaluate so much that they don't take action. So they can also be the biggest demon is analysis paralysis. Hence, Karen, if you ever suffered from that one. Yes. Well, guess what? We find that the people who show up to the Boston REIA and want information tend to be the analytical investor because information is how they thrive. They live off of information. So the analytical investor could always use some help on the mindset stuff of taking action. The influential investor could use some help from the analytical investor, who is very good at doing the numbers. But the influencer they'll do a deal just because they like the person who sold the deal to them. Does that make sense? Like they're just fun. They just want to do the deal. The service investor will do it for their family, and they can leverage the skill set from the managing investor, because typically the service investor will be a little too nice to everybody and just let the contractors walk all over them, and I'll let the tenants walk all over them. Anybody ever hear horror stories about tenants? It's probably a service-based investor who wasn't willing to put down their feet on a project, or somebody who got taken advantage of by a contractor probably wasn't communicating clearly enough with the contractor. So identifying where you're at on this. And I take this from DISC, the DISC profile test, which in our mentorship, we have everybody go through, we take the personality test, we go through what it means for you in your business and how that affects your buying, how it affects your management. Knowing where you are is going to be absolutely paramount for you to make decisions going forward. If you make decisions based on a personality or not, and you get into a role based on a personality or not, you may end up getting hurt in the business. But if we line you up, there, by the way, every one of these personalities fits a niche, fits a strategy. Does that make sense? And it makes sense that they would, right? Like we're all different human beings, but we can all be successful in real estate. We just have to play our parts. We just have to play our roles. And there is a process to building wealth. There's a process and an order with which to do it. Who's heard of crypto? Me and Duncan were actually talking crypto right before you jumped on the call. Okay, we've all heard of it, right? This crazy digital coin. So I'm a believer of crypto because I'm rich. I can. But it doesn't make sense to invest in crypto unless you got money. And I'll tell you why. There's something called wealth stacking. And this brings me to secret number 2. Wealth stacking is the right order with which to buy things in. And if you buy the wrong things with the small dollar amounts, you'll never get to the big dollar amounts. So if you went and took $1,000 and put it into Bitcoin today, and Bitcoin doubled over the next 5 years, what have you got? $2,000. Woohoo, right? It doesn't matter. Doge, let's say Doge goes 5 times, 5x over the next 5 years. What have you got? $5,000. This is not like life-changing numbers. Tesla. Well, shit, we'll go with Bitcoin or Tesla. Say you bought it last year. You took that 1,000, you bought it last year, and it went up 800%. What do you got? $8,000. You're not going to change your life off of $1,000 investment in crypto or stocks. Does that make sense? It's not enough. So when anybody says that, you got to go and invest in stocks and crypto, that's how you get rich. Yeah, over 30 years, over 40 years, like it's a long-term play to get rich from small dollar amounts in those avenues. So you can just write down on the piece of paper in front of you, scratch off stocks, scratch off crypto. In the beginning, anyway. This is the first $1,000. And usually when I'm going to drop this right into the chat. So anybody who's here in the chat can actually see what I use. This is my wealth stacking formula. It's called Secret 2. Do you see how it says the first $1,000 should be education? The first $1,000 should be education. Because if you don't know how to make another $10,000, you need to learn that first. If you haven't figured out how to make 10,000 additional dollars this year, you need to go learn how to make that first $10,000. Hands to camera if that makes sense, right? And if you have gotten to this point in life and you haven't saved $10,000, you clearly haven't learned this lesson, right? Like I don't care what age you're at, right? I can make $10,000 happen in a week. Not hard for me. Just make a couple phone calls, man. I can manifest $10,000. That's easy. But if you haven't built that muscle, then it's time to learn the muscle. Hands to camera if you agree. This makes sense. So the first investment is here. Now it's not always $1,000. It's just that if that's all you've got, like I'm telling you, that's where you need to go spend your money. Behind me, I have a library of books. Well, it's not on I got my green screen up, but actually, you know what? I will show you behind me. I got my other green screen. If I can find it. And it's 350 books. You guys see it? 350 books I've read. Yeah, it cost me like $4,000. So what? I'm rich, right? Like it took me 7 years to get through all those books. But I can say that I know how to do a lot of stuff. Some of those books I read in a night. Some of those books, it took me 2 weeks. Some of those books, when I first started, man, my first year took me 12 months to read 12 books. Holy crap, it was going to take forever to get rich at that point. Then I started reading a book a week. And I started speeding through books. I started realizing it wasn't about, whether I understood everything. It was just read the book, just get through it, just get the information in my head. Something would stick. And if I didn't get it yet, I'd just put that book aside and I'd be like, I'll read it one day when I can get it. And what's the next book under it? And it's kept pushing through book after book. So I didn't have a lot of money, but I knew that education wasn't actually that expensive. I just had to go and buy the education that I could afford at the time. So I started with books and I shifted off. Eventually, I started moving into coaches. I started moving into mentors. I started moving into masterminds. And those things really shifted me. The more I spent in education, the more I made. So wealth stacking, first 1,000, you need education. If you haven't figured out how to make 10,000, go and learn it. What to do with that first 10,000, right? It's not stocks. Because again, by the way, the same math I did with you earlier on crypto and stocks for 1,000 works the same way with 10,000. It's not going to freaking change your life. So it's got to be something intelligent. Real estate is the most expensive expense in your life right now. For most people, if you added up all your math on all your expenses monthly, it's your rent or it's your mortgage. And if your car, by the way, if your car costs more than your rent or mortgage, you messed up. You have made some financial mistakes. If your vehicle costs more than your living, go live in your vehicle, because damn. But I know people who do. I know people who have cars that cost more than their rent, and that's what they do to show off. Yeah, I've never been one of those guys, man. I can fix a car, right? I can fix anything in a car. But you tell them, you like drive a car down the street, I don't know what it is. Like, I've never been about that. I've always been about stuff that I can't brag about, that nobody knows about. You know, I have 50 units. I have $10 million worth of real estate. I have 50 caring tenants who love me. I have a community of real estate investors that I've taught all across the country. I have a team of real estate agents who bring me money and send me money. I have lenders who pay me for giving me people to go and work with. I have a lot of streams of income. But man, you won't see me drive a fancy car. I don't like to drive, right? Like, I like to be driven. You see me use Uber a lot, right? Hands to camera if you recognize, like, not everybody is about that flashy life. You know, we don't all get rich for the same reasons. But I do like freedom. You know, I grew up in Massachusetts. I grew up in Boston. You know where I'm calling you from today? I'm in Tampa, baby. I'm down in Florida, where it's beautiful, where the sun's always shining. You know, and if it doesn't shine for 5 minutes because it's raining, and it's Florida, that's what you get, right? Man, we're so badass down here. We eat alligators, right? Like, that's how Florida is. So you got to really, really think, what is it you're willing to delay today? Like, what quick stuff you willing to not have? Like the garbage. Like, just think about all the stuff, the garbage you've accumulated in your life, in your house, that you couldn't sell to somebody, right? Like, if I said to you, like, hey, like, go and accumulate $10,000 today, what would you sell? You know, and you look around your house and you're like, shoot, like, I don't know that there's 10,000 here. You messed up. Like, and I'm saying this because I care. I'm saying this because I messed up, because I was there at one point where I looked around and I was like, man, like, this is gonna have to be a hell of a garbage sale, like a garage sale. I don't know if I'm able to come up with 10,000, but let's say you did. So you learn a skill. Like, this is how I started. Who wants to know how I started? What my skill was? It was a real estate license. I became an agent. I went and got my license. It cost me $500. So it wasn't even a full $1,000, $500. And then I had my license. In my first year, I went and I sold 8 houses, which made me $17,000. It's a pretty good return on investment. $500 became $17,000. Year two, I made $100,000 as a real estate agent. This was income that I was not making previously, that I suddenly was making because I went and I learned a new skill. Does that make sense? So a new skill gave me the ability to go and make an additional in advance $100,000. Year 3, I built a real estate team, and I made $150,000, but I didn't do any of the work. All because 3 years prior, I made the investment in myself, and I got the license to go and be a real estate agent. Now, this is not, and I'm not an advocate for real estate agency. All I'm saying is it could be wholesaling, it could be flipping, it could be Airbnb arbitrage, it could be whatever skill you require, right? It could be just how do I go learn that skill to increase capital, right? I then spent another $12,000 learning how to speak on stage so I could sell coaching. And then I started selling coaching. That's how I know like I can make 10,000 a day. I've done it. I just get on a stage, sell a couple coaching students. There's 100 grand. You know, like people can't even afford my coaching anymore. 25,000 a year. Don't worry, I won't offer it today. Right? Like I promise you, I got you guys. Don't everything I offer is going to be super affordable. This is a path for beginners. Hands to camera if you know it's okay to be a beginner. Yeah, I was a beginner too. Right? Every master was once a disaster. I was in your seats. I was at the Riz. Like I was the cheap guy. Well, you guys got more money than I got. I promise. I was broke. I wrote the book, Broke to $250,000, and that broke was like no money. In fact, it was more than no money. It was Uncle Sam. We live in this great country in America where the credit system will allow you to go below money, below zero. And fortunately, because I didn't have any other option at the time, I was deep in debt. But I pulled back. I pulled out of it. I was able to dig out of it. So no matter how bad your situation is, I promise there's a way to pull yourself out. Continuing with wealth stacking, the first 10 to 50,000. Once you have that, you heard how I did it, right? Like I went and I learned a skill, and I didn't really talk about all the training that I did the next year. That next year is where I bought a lot of books. That next year is where I went to a lot of live seminars. That next year is where I hired my first coach. And I spent maybe $10,000 in self-development, in just getting my mind right, getting myself to that next level. That's how I pulled that 100,000 in. I was reinvesting in myself, reinvesting in my business, reinvesting in that money-making skill that I learned. It was sales. I was learning sales. And I was an accountant prior to this. Like when I tell you, the guy you're listening to who's communicating really clearly right now would never have even turned his mic on in a Zoom call before. Right? You would not have seen me. I would have been the ghost, right? I would have been the guy who just like shows up. You would have seen a picture of a cat or something. And you would not have been seeing or hearing my voice. But I learned sales. I learned the skill of communication. Those things are learnable. And by the way, Warren Buffett says this. It's the most important skill for a human to have. You want to get rich? Learn communication. You want to become successful? Learn communication. This is what Warren Buffett said. And if you learn one thing from this, wealth principle 2, learn communication. Not wealth principle 2, wealth stacking secret 2. Learn that skill. If there's one skill, and when you think you're good at communication, come talk to me. I just spent $34,000 to become even better at communication. I'm already pretty damn good. I've already sold hundreds, millions of dollars worth of stuff across the country. And I just paid to get even better at communication. And I paid somebody who I believe is just the master at what he does, the best communicator I've ever met. In fact, here's something cool. I paid him because in 2015, when I was sitting in the chair at an event just like you are, he told me his coaching was $5,000. I thought that was too much for me. I couldn't afford it. But I made a commitment. I said, one day when I can't afford it, I'm going to pay that $5,000. Now, unfortunately, when I called him, it was this year, and he's gone up in value over the over the last 7 years, and his coaching is now $32,000. But fortunately, I gotten myself to a position where I could afford it, where I did need that kind of level of coaching. And it's funny, you would think after all these years of building and all this wealth I've acquired and all of the skills I've taken on, you would think, why does he still pay? Because there's another level. There's another devil to where I'm looking and go. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires, right? Maybe many of you don't know that about me, or maybe you've never met me before. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. And the reason I'm on the mission is because if you teach somebody, take away financial poverty from them, Take away the pain, take away the obsession with money, which, by the way, anybody who says they're not obsessed with money is completely obsessed with money. That's why they go to work 40 hours a week. That's why they make sure that they sleep 8 hours, work 8 hours, stress about work for 4 hours, and stress about what to do and not do with their money for the other 4 hours that they're awake, dreaming about things they can't have. They're obsessed with money. Like that's how human society is built. And I got tired of being obsessed with money. I wanted freedom from it. So that's the condition. So anyway, you can do what you want in life. You've just got to follow a couple of principles. You've got to invest properly. That's what wealth stacking is all about. I have on here 10 to 50,000. That's typically, I like to see that done in business development. If you're still self-developed, you're still your own boss, you're self-employed, then that's you. That's investment up here. Once you get to that 100,000 mark, I wrote down marketing. Because after you've really developed your business and you've automated it and scaled it, which, by the way, learn it, do it, automate it. Learn it, do it, automate it. Learn it, do it, delegate it. Learn it, do it, teach it. Whatever you got to do, do not take on more work until you've gotten rid of some of it. That doesn't mean you let go of the product. The product still has that doesn't mean you stop servicing tenants, right? You still need to service tenants, but you need to hire a property manager. But you need to learn how to do that. You need to learn how to manage your properties. You need to do it yourself. And then you can go and you can hire a good property manager to replace you. Because if you just keep buying property and you're not managing it anymore, you're going to have problems. Tenants are always going to be there. They're a thing. You need that scalability so you can keep growing. So learn it, do it, delegate it. At 100,000, you got good systems. Spend money on marketing. Keep scaling. People ask me, when do I diversify? When you're a millionaire. Diversification is to protect wealth. If you don't have wealth, it's not time to protect it. Does that make sense? And I already told you, stocks and crypto are not going to get you to the $1 million. Real estate will. Real estate will do it because of leverage. Because leverage, and leverage. You're leveraging the tax system. You're leveraging the bank's money. You're leveraging the fact that everybody wants the asset. You're leveraging the fact there's a market that will buy the asset at the end of your product, whatever you're done with it. You're leveraging. Does that make sense? The leverage to define it, if you've ever gone and taken a tire off of a car before, who's ever had to do that before? Who knows the pain? Yeah, the lug nuts. Yeah, try grabbing it over here and trying to do it, right? But if you come out way out here, you could torque that thing around. It's gonna be nice and easy because you got leverage. But down here, it's a joke, right? It's never gonna happen. Try to grab it with your hands. It's just not gonna work. You need the right tools. You need the right leverage. And in order to become a millionaire, you've got to leverage real estate. Part of the problems that most people come into this wealth building factor of life is that they think any asset class will do. But that's not true. The other asset classes are great for diversification, which is protecting money. Who's been told you should diversify? Yeah, that's because the person talking to you is a financial advisor and they're afraid of losing your money for you because they know logically people will fire them if they lose money. And people will continue to let them do their thing if there is no money lost. So what do? They take your money and they diversify. And your money doesn't grow and you don't complain because they haven't lost anything. And what do you complain about when the market drops and everybody loses money? You say, pull my money out. Oh my God, the market's down. And then you lose money. Does that make sense? This is fear and greed. This is how the market works. So the people giving you the advice are people who are afraid of losing money for you. But they're not people who are built to grow money for you. We're talking about growing money here. So you have to have a different strategy. Warren Buffett also said this. You notice I quote Warren Buffett a lot because he's the greatest freaking investor on the planet. Who else are you going to quote? Who else are you going to model, right? Warren Buffett said this. He said, put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket. Now you got to make sure it's the right basket, right? I'm not talking about, hey, any basket will do. They will not. They're not all created equal. It's like picking your spouse, not just anyone's going to work. You got to pick the right one. It's a long-term commitment here. And when you pick the right one, you protect the right one. You stay with it. You know what's going on with it, right? You don't just like send your spouse down a dark alley and hope things work out. You make sure that they got a safe place to sleep at night. You make sure that they got a safe career to be in. You make sure they got a safe place to build and raise a family with you. Does that make sense? Right? You treat your career, you treat your spouse, you treat your investments like you care about them, like you want them around. Investing is not a willy-nilly thing. You don't just throw darts at the wall and hope it sticks. You do learn and you do educate yourself and you do study and you don't take any decisions until you know for sure. In fact, even in our business today, to this day, we still only make one big transaction a year, one big purchase. We'll go all year. We'll evaluate deal after deal after deal. We'll put a lot of offers in, but we're waiting for the sweet one, that one deal to go through. And that one deal 2 years ago was 24 condos. That one deal last year ended up being 4 deals, but we broke it up, but they just happen to be really great deals. This year, we're still waiting for it, and I've told my investors, if we don't close on something this year, cool, we'll close on something bigger next year. We're getting into a cash position. We'll just keep stacking up cash. We'll keep moving. I don't like to do small single family flips. I don't like to do small deals. So the deals I'm looking for are 20, 40 units, just high competition right now. That's all right. I'm okay. I'm not going to compromise the types of deals I do just because they're not there at the moment. Discount season's coming, by the way. Fall is here, right? Winter and fall, properties always go on discount all across the country. Just part of the cycle. This happens every single year. It's called discount season. All right. So at 100,000, you could diversify, but I'm going to tell you not to. Stay in real estate. Stay in your business. Keep growing your business. Keep growing your business. Whatever it is you did to get to that first 100,000, put it back in marketing. Reinvest. Get more deals. Buy more. Use that money to keep flowing the money. If you have an issue with raising capital, well, get a mentor who's raised a lot of capital. Right? That's part of the process. All right, the right people. I just brought it up. Secret number 3 is get around the right people. People who've done it before. People who have what you want. Mentors and coaches are different. Who's heard of coaches before? Who's knows somebody who's got a coach? Coaches are great. This is what coaches do for you. Coaches will get you what you want. What you want, what you say you want. Now, if you don't actually want it, you're never going to get it. There's nothing anybody can do to motivate you to want something you don't want, right? So you can go to a coach and be like, I want to be a millionaire. But if you don't actually want to be a millionaire, you're fucking shit out of luck. Like you got to want to do the work, because becoming successful, just like becoming successful in your relationship, just like becoming successful in your health, involves work, right? It involves showing up, lifting the weights, showing up, lifting the flowers. And with being a real estate investor or becoming successful as a millionaire or business person, it involves picking up the phone and making some commitments. Commitments are how you make money in real estate. It's commitments to another human being, and that's it. So if you don't go and do the work, nothing's going to happen for you. Does that make sense? So you got to be willing to do the work. A coach is going to give you what you want. You're going to tell a coach, hey, I want this, and they're going to give you that. A mentor is going to give you what they've got. So like as a mentor, that's what I tell everybody. I don't do coaching. I'm a mentor. As a mentor, I can only ever give you a $10 million portfolio. I can only ever give you $40,000 a month in gross revenues. I can only ever give you, a $10,000, $15,000 a month income from an agency. I can only ever, give you a $2,000 a month crypto passive dividends. What do we call those things? Not technically dividends on crypto. It's disbursements, distributions I get from DeFi. So there's 2 types of mentors out there, local and out of state. Now you need a local one and you need an out-of-state mentor. And here's the reason why. The local one knows the local ordinances, right? So like if Fall River, for example, I grew up in the city, I invest in Fall River. I know the ins and out. I know what the city building department's like. I know what the plumbing inspector's like. I know everything about the shit. What the last mayor was one of my best friends. And like, I know the situation in the city. I know the building codes. I know what's going on. Now, say you're in California. I don't know any of that. You know, I there's no way I could give you that information. Does that make sense? But what I can give you is how to market. I can show you how to find off-market deals. I can show you how to evaluate a property, not based on the local situation, but based on the numbers. Does it make sense to go and do this deal? And now you got to go and do the research, get me the local information, the local numbers, and I can evaluate that and say, yes, this makes sense, or this doesn't make sense. Financially, is this feasible? Is this scalable? Raising capital. You don't need a local mentor to raise capital. In fact, it'd be very hard to get a local mentor to convince you to teach you that, for them to teach you how to raise capital. Because why would they teach you? When if they could do it, they would just do it themselves. They do the deal themselves. Why would they teach you how to find that motivated seller when they want the same seller? Does that make sense? So when it comes to marketing and sales strategies, you want the outside mentor. When you want to know local knowledge, like, hey, what's the water bill going to be like? What's the electrical bill going to be like? What are the costs of things? That's where a local mentor is going to come in handy. You know, referrals to contractors, referrals to property managers. Then you want 3 coaches: a coach for your health, coach for your wealth, coach for your relationships. You don't have to pay for all of these, but you do have to get them. And here's my advice. And I know we're going a little off of real estate right here, but how you do anything is how you do everything. When it comes to your spouse, this is my foolproof tip on whether I'm going to take advice from somebody. I ask them, how long have you been married? If they say too long, I walk away. If they say not long enough, I'm like, tell me more. You might be somebody worth taking some advice from, right? And if they've been married 20 years, they're happy, they got kids, and their kids love them and they love their kids. You know, here's the other thing: parenting advice. If somebody says, if I ask, you know, how are your kids? And they're like, oh man, I can't stand them. Yeah, maybe I don't want your advice, right? Like that, your kids are a pain in the ass. Cool. I'm not asking you for child advice. Or if I say, how are your kids? Man, I love my kids. They're absolutely amazing. You know, really well behaved, respectable. I want to know more about that. Yeah, tell me more. So make sure you're asking people for advice who've got what you want. So here's how you find them. Actually, before we go and seek out how to find them, let's identify if you're missing them. You're the average of your 5 closest friends. Are you making $1 million right now? If the answer is no, it's time for new friends. Does that make sense? And you need millionaire friends to pull up your average, right? So you got to be comfortable with reaching up to somebody who's a millionaire and saying, will you show me the way? Start, like, be friendly, just be a nice human being, just be a decent human being, show up and ask the questions. And this works because in real estate, it's a people business. It really is a people business. You can buy a piece of real estate and you can close a piece of real estate and you can use other people's money as long as you're a decent human being that people trust with their money. As long as you're a decent human being that people trust with their house. As long as you're a decent human being that people trust with their relationship with their contractor, with their plumber, they know you're going to pay that person, right? So it's all about the relationships. You've got to be a decent human being. And if you're a friend, even better. That's where the freebies start coming in. That's where a mentor will coach you for free. That's where a coach will coach you for free. That's where somebody will you get that family discount. I've had deals where I didn't pay what I should have paid for the plumber because one of my friends sent me their plumber. Millionaire friend, right? Had nothing other than I was just a decent friend of his that he wanted to hook me up with. It's not like I went in there and was like, hey man, I got $1 million. Let's hang out. Because I didn't. I'm talking about the secret here. This is how you get there. You've got to hang out with millionaires. You've got to get comfortable with them. And here's a step that if you understand this, you'll understand everything in life. Nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody, man, not even your mom. Like your mom only talks about you because she cares about your opinion of her, right? Like that's just, if anything, everybody just wants to hear what you think about them at any given point. And that secret, man, if you can understand that, when you talk to a millionaire, don't talk about you. Please don't. Like that's so embarrassing. Find out about them, right? Like they don't give a shit about you, right? They're like any other human being. They've just become keenly aware of the fact that they don't care. Like most millionaires are in their 40s and 50s, by the way. I'm the anomaly. I'm a young one. And I want you to be an anomaly. I want you to be a young one. But most millionaires are in their 40s and 50s. You see, at 20, you think you're worried about what everybody thinks about you. At 30, you're thinking, man, what is everybody thinking about me? At 40, you start realizing nobody's thinking about you. And at 50, you don't care what anybody thinks. So it's not that they're millionaires and millionaires don't care what people think. It's that they're old. They've just figured it out. They're just like, shit, nobody's been paying attention this whole time. Does that make sense? So if you can get that confidence, if you can just be 100% okay with yourself and be like, oh, like nobody cares who I am and what I'm doing here. I should show interest in other people, and they will show interest in you. Show interest in it. You want to get the boyfriend or the girlfriend, man, just show interest in them. You want to get the money from the lender, show interest in them. You want to get that deal from that seller. You want to know negotiation 101, show interest, just listen, ask questions, and you will get the deal. They will sell you the house at a discount. So all this stuff is mindset, but these 3 secrets are the secrets to being successful in this business. Show up, do it, take action. Now, the problem is I gave you good practical advice, but you're probably going to go home and not use it. This is what happens. This is the human condition. Unfortunately, we all get this great knowledge, this great advice. We feel amped up. Who feels amped up right now? Who's feeling juiced? Like, holy shit, I got the secrets. I know I could do this. I'm going to be rich. Hell yeah. All right. The bald guy said it's possible. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to get some. I'm going to get me mine. It's about time. It's about time I go get my money. And it's true. By the way, if you don't think money is a good idea to get, all the people who make all the decisions are rich. All the decisions that you're stuck with dealing with every single day are rich people who are making decisions, and you're putting up with them. Because guess what? You don't got the money yet. So here's a reason to go get money. Here's a reason to get rich. You want to make some freaking decisions. Get yourself at the table. Get your people at the table. Get your city at the table. Get your community at the table, right? Like get yourself to be a decision maker. Go get money. I'm going to get mine. I'm stacking more so I can have more decision-making powers, right? So I can have some impact. So I can have some influence. So maybe I can put a positive change in the world. But don't rely on me to vote for you, right? You got to go get yours. That's why I teach wealth. That's why I teach building strategies so that you can get to the next level, wealth stacking. Now, I do have a process. I do have a program that I bring people through that allows you to take action on everything you just learned tonight. And it's called the mentorship program. So a mentorship is 8 weeks. And it's 8 weeks of not just my time, because I told you got to hang out with millionaires, right? It's 8 other millionaires. It's me and 8 other millionaires who are committed to doing the same thing. We're all real estate wealth built and driven, although 3 of us are pretty heavy in crypto. Hands to the camera if you don't mind learning from people who made money in crypto too. Yep, I know, we're silly. What can I say? We just like money. And then 2 of us have made over $1 million in stocks. Is that okay if I've made over $1 million in stocks as well? Yeah, unfortunately, we're just really good at this. So we've diversified and learned how to make money in other asset classes as well. And then a few of us are millionaires through business. Yeah, most of us are actually millionaires through business. Is that okay that you learn from millionaires in business? Okay. So it's 8 weeks. We take you through the 8 weeks. And it's every Monday at 8 p.m. for about an hour. Every Monday at 8 p.m. for about an hour. And we take you into this call and we take you through a very simple process, five requirements. And they are: one, the net worth tracker; two, the book of the week. Everybody reads a book, by the way. And don't worry, I start you with small books. And we go Audible. Audible is not cheating. Audible is acceptable. This is how we speed through the process. I'll read 2 or 3 books in a week. It's not because I read them by paper, right? I'm not a caveman. We might have the same forehead, but we have totally different belief systems. So there's a book of the week. We go through the process, talk about the book, what you learned. There's a video each week, one of the 8 videos, and these 8 videos are the keys to clarity. They're the Alchemist A is all about abundance, goal setting, pain and gain, powerful words for relationships, how to get your spouse on board, and there's a couple other ones in there. These videos are important. They were recorded because they work. They've been consistent. They're some of my most watched videos in the program because people have gone back and watched them over and over to get the knowledge inside of them. Does it make sense that things that work should be recorded so you can have access to them over and over? So we have an online university called Alchemist University. And on there was anything that I was asked a question about enough times, I went and I recorded a video. So I have a 55 video course called Get the Deal. It's how to pick the strategy, how to pick the target market, how to pick the location, how to find the right deals, how to decide the right niche, and then how to market to them, how to do online marketing, how to do offline marketing, how to do mailers, emailing, cold calling, you name it. I did a video on it. Hands to the camera if that seems helpful. Yes. And wait till you hear the price. $1 million. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So, my coaching one-on-one is $25,000 a year. I'm not going to charge that. That's not how you get started. You only come to me when you're looking to do millions of dollars. When you are looking and you're saying, hey, I want to go and acquire a $4 million portfolio. How do I do this? Yeah, you bring me in, I'll get you there. But to get to where you just need that first deal, right, ladies and gentlemen? You just need that first one, the one that gets you to the next level. So what I'm offering is the mentorship. I'll present that to you tonight. The mentorship is $1,200. I'm going to include it with the gift of the 100 Millionaire Summit, which, by the way, I'll be bringing all my students together. Everybody who I've been coaching over the last 3 years will be together in Orlando on October 22nd to the 24th. Write the event down. October 22nd to the 24th. We're going to be in Orlando, and there's going to be over 100 students that I've trained who have become millionaires or are very close to becoming millionaires. Hands to the camera if you like to be surrounded in a room full of millionaires. If you know that's one of the secrets, my third secret was be surrounded in millionaires. If you don't have them right now, I'm going to put you in a room with them. And it's okay to be with people who are just a little further ahead of you too, right? If
Walter, I want to be surrounded by millionaires.
Yeah. Let's give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. He's one of my coaches.
Be careful if you join the mentorship. You're going to have to see me too and have knowledge dropped on you. I have this bad habit of over-delivering. I apologize in advance.
So this is true. Mitch Jorsky, if you don't know him, he wrote the book, Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing, Rental Properties. And he also wrote the book, Scaredy Cat Guide to Knowing What the Heck Bitcoin Is. And Mitch, he helps everybody evaluate deals. He goes through the real estate deals. So I love that he showed up on the call. Let's give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. And he's a millionaire who's volunteering. He shows up every Monday night at 8 o'clock with us. How cool is it that one of the millionaires is actually on the call with us right now? It's pretty badass. He's committed to the community, and he's committed to the community. He's committed to what we do here. And part of the reason being is we were where you are at one point. We remember what it's like just digging through the books and going to the events and like begging for information and just being like, just teach me something, like just show me how to do this. And after doing it all, we realized, damn, it's not that complex. It's the accountability that moves people forward. It's the do I have somebody I could just text right now? It's that, by the way, which we do. We have a Facebook chat group where not just one of us is on there, all of us is on there. And you got the community on there as well. So sometimes you partner up. We've seen our students partner with each other. Some students come in with the opposite problem that you have right now. If you don't have money, believe it or not, we have students who come in who don't have time. They got money. They got plenty of money, but they don't have time. They're not looking to become millionaires. They're looking to automate their money-making problems, right? They just want to put some of their money to work. And so they come into the mentorship saying, how do I invest in real estate, but not do the work? So they're looking for people who are willing to do the deal finding, people who are looking to manage the properties. Hands to the camera if you know that makes sense. Yeah. So the mentorship is, we don't always pull from the Boston RIA, from the RIAs. The RIAs are a great place for us to find new students who are looking to do physical work, who are willing to do the work and grind and start up. But a lot of the students we bring through the mentorship are also coming from a space of the tech industry, where they're just like, yeah, no, I don't want to physically do it. I just want to put my money to work in real estate. And they're just trying to learn the fundamentals of how to do that. So we service all of our students. So the communication is through the Facebook live group. And that Facebook group, just you drop a question out there, you drop an opportunity or a property, you never know who's going to respond. Nothing else. It'll be me, Darina, Mitch, Mike, Terry, one of the coaches. Darina, actually, do you have I have it on the PowerPoint. I can go back to that picture. Let me show this again. These are the coaches right here. Everybody can see that? I apologize. So these are the coaches. You got Christine, who worked for Starbucks, helped build their systems, their education system. So she's a corporate coach. You've got Doug McGurk, who actually trained with Tony Robbins, traveled the country with Tony Robbins. You've got Mitch, who was actually a financial advisor. He was a Series 7 financial advisor. He was in the Twin Towers when they went down. Actually, he was in the Twin Towers right before they went down. He got out. And Dr. Terry Wader is a psychologist and a hypnotist. This is Ryan McDermott, also Series 7 financial planner, financial advisor. We got Darina, an immigrant, a beautiful immigrant, also my girlfriend, who bought real estate and became a millionaire through owning real estate after moving here from Russia. Mitch Durfee, who grew up in Vermont, was in the military, bought his first house overseas with a VA loan. He was in the military, bought his first house here in America while he was overseas serving, and became a millionaire through real estate, then sold everything, built a moving company, a Grunt's junk removal company, moved to Florida, kept one of those companies. So he still has the royalties from the other two, and he kept one, and he still lives off of the cash flow from that. Mike Shine is a real estate attorney who became a crypto millionaire, a stock millionaire, a Tesla millionaire, and a real estate millionaire. And he also he's probably very close to his business being worth $1 million in his real estate law practice. Heidi is a relationships coach. This is actually Doug's wife, and they're millionaires themselves together as a team. Many of the coaches, you'll actually notice, are each other's spouses. They partner with each other. They work together to build their wealth. Hands to the camera if you want that for yourself. Remember who I said I get advice from? I get advice from people who have what I want. I didn't want to build wealth and not have my spouse there. Trust me, I did that in round 1. I did build my first $250,000, lose my spouse. I know how to do that too. Answer the camera if that's not what you want to do. Yeah, so I surrounded myself with coaches. I surrounded myself with people who have been able to master their relationships and who have identified people who not only help them retain their wealth, but help them build their wealth. And for $1,200, let me talk about the investment ROI. You have a paper in front of you? Think about this. A $1,200 investment teaches you how to make $1 million. What's the ROI on that? If all you got to do is do what it says, do what we teach you in 8 weeks, if all you had to do was do that what would the ROI be there? The return on investment. And if you didn't hit it, let's say you didn't hit the $1 million in the next 3 to 5 years, you only hit half. What would the ROI be there? It's very interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting concept when you start looking at the return on investment. That first $1,000 should be invested here. It should be invested in how to get to that next $10,000. How to get the next $50,000, the next $100,000. The mentorship is that process. We teach you how to get that next step. And we have a continuity program because I'm a smart person. I recognize that most people won't do things unless you hold them by the hand. So we have something called the 52 weeks to wealth. And for everybody who signs up for the mentorship, gets access to the 52 weeks to wealth. The 52 weeks to wealth is 52 wealth principles. That are the principles that if you follow them, you'll become successful. If you skip one, results may vary. And I talk about them each week. I talk about one each week that you can implement in your business, one at a time, because you can't implement them all at once. It's impossible. But if you implement one at a time, each week, at the end of the year, you'll have, guess what? All 52 implemented into your life, which means a year later, as long as you follow the process again, which by the way, millionaires come through this program and they go through the 52 weeks to wealth with me again, the second year. We're in the second year doing it. And I still have people from the first year who are coming back because guess what they told me? I'm going for a bigger goal this year and the principles are the same. I need to hear them. I need to implement them. And I need to go and take action on the next one next week. And that's why we keep showing up. Does that make sense? So not only does this $1,200 basically become the best investment in yourself, it also becomes the best bet on yourself. It becomes your opportunity to get yourself to the next level. Darina, can you drop the link if anybody's interested in getting the discount from today? This is, by the way, a steep discount for the Boston RIA. And the reason being, Kelly, Duncan, Hannah, Sarah are very close friends of mine. I've been running the RIA with them for a long time now. And they know the importance to the community. The reason I built this program out was because there was no way anybody was going to afford $25,000 a year, right? Hands can't agree that not going to happen. But this program, this is affordable. This is doable. This is something you could take action on. So I want to open up to questions around wealth stacking, around the 4 personality types, the how to find and get yourself around millionaires, or questions about the mentorship and if it is right for you, how it would work. So this is your chance. Let's open it up and let's give everybody a round of applause for hanging out.
Hey, Gualter, can I add to what
Mitch,
you're saying?
Absolutely, brother.
So it's funny because, you mentioned about accountability, and I legit said this in the after hours on the Monday call. I was just like, I kind of want to go into student mode and not coach mode for a while, just so you guys can hold me accountable every week so I can push forward, because I am slacking on my goals right now. I literally wanted to, that's how powerful the accountability thing is. Like, I'm a coach and I literally want to step out of coach mode and go into student mode for a while, just so they can, I don't want to say push is a better word than that, but that's essentially, holding each other accountable and moving forward. And, so focused on doing it with everyone else that sometimes forget to do it for ourselves. So that is a huge thing when it comes to any kind of community or group or mentorship, like that accountability. So that alone, I think, is something that should be focused on and makes almost any group worthwhile. But you might as well jump in one that's got a bunch of millionaires that can show you essentially how to get to that milestone. And with that said, I'm actually doing the second edition of my crypto book. I'm updating it and I'm trying to have that ready for the 100 Millionaire Summit so I can give it away to a bunch of people that are there. So I'm going to hold myself accountable and go back to doing that. But I just wanted to jump in and say hello. And I don't know if you guys realize it, but Gualter is sick as a dog right now getting this done. So round of applause for Gualter for showing up, because my butt would still be on my couch saying, I can't do it. So
Thanks, Mitch. Let's give Mitch a round of applause. I appreciate you, brother. Get that
kudos
book
to you,
done.
brother. That's why you're getting big things done. I love it. Nothing stopping you. You're a force. So
Appreciate you.
I'll leave it open to the floor for questions, and don't keep them on too long. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for letting me step in for a minute.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Take care.
So let's open it up. Dorina, what questions did you see in the chat coming through tonight?
I haven't seen questions. I've seen comments. And we still have 8 people who didn't join as panelists. So I'd say anybody who is on this call, go ahead, unmute yourself, turn your camera on. And if you're still not a panelist, drop your question in the chat. We'll review that too.
Awesome. And let me ask a question. Did I start with $1 million as too much? I know most people have a hard time even thinking about $1 million. It seems like too much money. And the reason I do that is because it's not a lot of money. You just have no freaking clue.
Not anymore.
No, it's really not. I'm telling you, at $1 million, like, what can I afford more than most people? I could buy more plane tickets, I guess. I mean, I don't have to work. Like, I don't have to go to work for anybody. But like, it's not like I'm gonna go drop it on a Lambo. Like, then it's gone. So, $1 million is really, it just means freedom. It just means you don't have to work for anybody else. So that's why I chose $1 million, right? Like, for you, it could be $250,000. Maybe $250,000 would be like life changing. I remember for me it was, 100,000. Shit. Charlie Munger says the first 100,000 is a bitch, and that's true. I didn't make my first 100,000 until I was 30 years old. I spent my whole first 15 years working, making less than 40 grand a year. And it wasn't until I was 30 that I figured out this whole thing. I didn't earn my first million until I was 33 or 34 years old. So, like, I understand, like, it's hard to think about those numbers until you get, to the one before it. I was not thinking about $250,000 until I made 100,000. I assure you. I wasn't thinking about making 100,000 when I was focused on making that first 5. All right. Edwin, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. So Deshaun, Patricia, since you guys are on the call, might as well open it up to questions. What was your biggest takeaway or biggest question you had from tonight?
Yeah. I mean, I just got a lot of information in general, which was great. You know what I mean? And definitely got some things to look forward to and things that I want to sign up for. So it's definitely sounding like something I want to get into. As far as questions, as far as the membership goes, I think I did sign up for the Boston RIA membership as well. I was just curious to know, you did say something earlier about there possibly be a discount for the $100 million summit. How does that work? Like, how do I find out about the information? And where do I go from there?
Awesome. So if you send, text Kelly and just ask her for that information, and she'll get your email over to Dorina. We'll make sure you're registered.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Awesome, bud. Yeah, I've been vibing with you all night, man. Anytime I said son, I saw you vibe. I was like, all right, okay,
yeah,
he's
man,
got
man,
it.
I'm tapped in, man. I'm trying to get like you.
Hell yeah. Smart man, brother. Let's give Deshaun a round of applause. Sign up for the membership. He's getting himself hooked up. Boston RIA. Patricia, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, I like the wealth stacking concept of how to spend your money and what to invest in and at what point to invest in. I thought I was really interested. Never heard of that before. So that was a big takeaway. And also discovered that I have the service, a little bit of service and analytical personalities. Tend to be one of those what do you call it? Paralysis analysis.
Yeah. The analysis paralysis.
Yep. Yeah. Show up, get a lot of information, but don't implement any of it. So,
Sign up for the mentorship. We do really well with people who are suffering from analysis paralysis. We're very good at moving you forward, getting you through, and because all you need is really a second opinion. You know, that's really what's stopping you from getting to the next level. And you just saw Mitch on the call. He's actually the guy who evaluates a deal with you and says, yeah, go do it. So this definitely, if you know that you have that tendency not to take action, sign up for the mentorship and we'll help. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. We're talking about a small $1,000 investment or $1,200 investment, that saying yes to that's going to help you go buy a $300,000 house that pays for that investment, right? Like, helps you do that first flip. So it's just about getting that little engine going on the first stack, which is information and then action. And what we're doing is through the mentorship, we've set you up with accountability partners in your market right next to where you are, who don't have the issue of holding back. Or we'll set you up with the real estate agent who doesn't have the issue with telling you, hey, this is a good deal, let's go do it. And you always have us to double check. Like that's the biggest thing with analysis paralysis. You just need to know it's not a mistake. Like that's why you keep, questioning. Is that fair to say?
mhm.
Yeah. You just don't want to make a mistake. Buy insurance. That's what the mentorship is. That's when we built it, we were like, how do we move people who know how to evaluate a deal? Like it's not that they don't know how to evaluate. It's that they just don't pull the trigger. How do we move them forward? How do we get them to buy houses? The mentorship was that program. It was that product. It was that solution. Now they know who to ask. Hey, what do you think? What do you think? And if somebody doesn't close on something, we're like, hey, why didn't you? And we start figuring out the emotional stuff. Where is this coming from? Is it a money thing? If it's a money thing, well, this is how you find the money. If it's I don't know about the area thing. Okay, well, what area do you know about? And we work your way through. So I would have a conversation with Darina, Patricia. Just reach out to Darina and just ask her. Just figure out the process, payment plans. We make it easy for you.
Right.
I like
Thank you.
that. And wealth stacking, just so you know, this came from Warren Buffett. Like that principle. He said you can have everything you want if you buy it in the right order.
Mhm.
And it got me thinking, what is the right order? And then I started experimenting. And once I figured it out, I just kept redoing that. And it is always the same, by the way, at every level of success. That's why I told you earlier, I just hired a coach for $32,000 is because I'm looking for that next level of income for myself and for my spouse and for my family, for my community and my charities. And I want to be able to give back on those big levels. So I had to go and get a coach who could teach me how to do what I'm looking to do next. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And it's really hard to learn these things without paying somebody. Their time is extremely valuable. The people who know it are extremely, extremely busy.
Mhm. Well,
So-
maybe you can learn it, but you just don't take the action that you need to.
Oh, I'm an action taker. So I'm a manager personality.
Yeah.
So
No,
but
I
you're
don't
right.
mean you personally. I
Oh.
just mean, I mean me actually.
Well, we'll take care of you, Patricia. Don't worry. That's a thing of the past. And that, by the way, is a thing that can be learned away. So not taking action is just from a lack of exercise and action taking. So once you take action, you start getting better at it. You start trusting yourself. And if you think about it, in the past, you have taken action on things before, right? There's things you've done because you felt confident in those things. So for you, just taking action requires just a couple of doings first, and then eventually you do it automatically.
Mhm.
And that's what we work you through. Is just those small basic taking actions lead to bigger taking actions. So you will do it. You will take action. Awesome. Irving, I see you jumped in, brother.
Yeah, hi. My name is Irvin. Thanks for all the information. You guys have been great. I've taken a lot of note. Right now, I would like to say that I'm like in the kind of to piggyback on what Patricia said. I'm in the wealth stacking stage as well. Definitely just trying to learn as much as I could, educate myself as a beginner. So I guess my question would be to you guys is, what are 3 books, actually for all the panelists, what are 3 books that you guys recommend so I can dive in and continue that education process?
I love that. If you go to my website, gualteramarelo.com, I have my foundational 5. So I'll go one more for you. I'll give you 2 extra books. The foundational 5 books, I'll drop a link in the chat. Sorry. Actually, I'm surprised I lasted this long tonight. So I'll take a round of applause for surviving this long.
Absolutely, more than thank you so much for taking the time, especially having COVID. I hope you get better. Speedy recovery. Seriously, thank you.
Absolutely, brother. If your lips to God's ears. I'm hoping. So here are my foundational 5. You guys see the screen? All right. So first one, you've probably heard of before, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Second one, Richest Man in Babylon. This is also very popular in the wealth and money development arena. Third one is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This is a lesser known book, but a very, very impactful one. And then you've got the granddaddy of them all, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is timeless. And then the most unknown, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. This is probably the most powerful of the books, but you can't read it out of order. You got to start with the first 4 before this one makes sense. Otherwise, this just sounds like hokey, right? It sounds like crazy. But it is an exact science. And once you understand the science of getting rich, anybody can follow it. But you've got to go through the first 4 books to grasp how money really works. And any philosophy or principle or belief system around money outside of those 5 books is a waste of time. You don't need to read anything else on the subject, just those 5. And once you get those 5 in, and we talk about this deeply in the mentorship when students come through, it's a simple process. Wealth is simple. Money is simple. Business is simple. People and relationships are simple, but it's a consistency. You've got to show up. You got to take action. Look, we got one of our other coaches on the call. Let's give Mike Stein a round of applause. Mike's another millionaire. We call him the holistic attorney or the closer. He built a law practice around real estate, helping people close real estate deals.
Hey, Gualter.
Good to see you, Mike.
I was listening to you on YouTube, so I figured I'd jump on because I got home. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's good to see you.
yeah,
Let's give Mike a round of applause.
great program. If you're thinking of getting into the mentorship, it's amazing, and any one of the coaches make it worth the price of admission. But we have like 8, and we care. That was my key when I first went to see Gualter in Fall River, was that he actually cared. It wasn't like just let's push people through and take their money. So that's my 2 cents.
That's awesome. And if anybody wants to know a little more about Mike, he's got 5 kids. He's been married for 20 years, and he loves his wife. If you ask Mike how long he's been married, he says not long enough.
Yeah. Yep. She's amazing.
So what other questions do you have? Everybody got that link, right? You saw the link for the books in the chat there. Awesome. Great question, Irvin. I love that. Are there any other questions before we jump off this call? I want to make sure that we serviced everybody, that you got the value you were promised. Hands to the camera, by the way. You got the value you were promised? I delivered? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Awesome.
Gualter, we have one question in the chat.
Excellent. Go ahead.
It's from Marianne. How can we begin surround ourselves with people that are making more than us and they're better than us, which nobody is better than you.
That's right.
You're the best. But yes, someone could make more money than you. So how do you begin surround yourself with those people who make more than you do right now?
Awesome. I like that question. And that's probably one of the best questions to ask. Where are they right now? first you've got to identify how you want to make money, because just making more money than you is not enough. You want to find people who are making more money than you in the way that you want to make money, right? That makes it a lot more fun. But go to where places where money is spent. People who are making a lot more money will spend a lot more money. So if you're going to Applebee's to hang out, like that's not where you're going to find your rich friends, right? Rich friends don't hang out at Applebee's. But if you go to, let's say, one of the spots that I know for sure they always hang out is cigar shops, or the golf club, right? The country club. Man, like it's very rare that broke people show up there. It's really hard to just stumble across the threshold when a cigar costs $12 and the drinks are going to be $12, right? Like, broke people don't show up on those places. Does that make sense? So wherever there's a barrier to entry, I met a lot of millionaires while I was traveling, learning at a lot of the live events I was going to. 100 Millionaire Summit, right, is a perfect example of we're going to meet millionaires. Millionaires are always educating themselves. They're always looking to get to the next level. So I would go and I'd spend $500 to be in a room at an event, and I would be in a room full of people who spent $500 to be there. Does that make sense? Right? Like I'm not in a room full of people looking for the free shit. Like if you want to be millionaires, you got to spend a little money to get there. So that some of that initial investment goes to the network you're hanging out with. And this is something millionaires understand. We pay to be around people who we want to be around. And we pay to not be around people we don't want to be around. Right? Like the person who's in there crying with their, 6 kids crying, or they're, fighting with their girlfriend, or they're in there and they're just talking shit about everything around them. Like, I don't pay for those arenas. I pay to not be around those people. Does that make sense? I pay to go to a place where I get to think about more money, where I get to think about more ideas, like more strategies, things that are going to simplify my life. So I'll pay to go and be in those arenas, right? Like Russell Brunson's got an event coming up called Funnel Hackers. Like that's a place for me to pay to be, because I know everybody in the room paid to be there too. Grant Cardone, 10X, right? I know that those tickets are like $5,000. Shit, it's only my friend's going to be there. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not saying, when I say this, I'm not saying buy tickets to events you can't afford. I want to be very clear. There are beginner level events, the 100 Millionaire Summit, right? I think our tickets are dropped down to $200 right now. We're giving them away for people who sign up for the mentorship. That's an opportunity to be in a room full of millionaires that everybody else agreed and paid to be there. And the reason that room is so unique is because I've built a community around that concept of let's all get together and let's support each other. 52 Weeks of Wealth every Saturday at 10 a.m. You're going to be in a room full of millionaires, because we're a community that travels together, that learns together. So millionaires are learning constantly. That's a sign. Future millionaires or millionaires, you want to hang around them, go to places where money is talked about. Go to places where wealth building ideas are talked about. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? Awesome. Here's a way not to meet millionaires: the club. You won't find them at the bar. You won't find them at the club. They don't watch TV, right? Lamborghini made a comment a while back about why they don't do commercials, because their target demographic doesn't watch TV. So take that as a fact, right? Like, why haven't you met millionaires? Because you've been doing shit that millionaires don't do. You were doing the stuff your broke friends do. So when you say, and here's the other thing that may come in, imposter syndrome, like, oh, I don't feel comfortable going and doing the things that rich people do. Nobody felt comfortable with the first beer, right? Nobody felt comfortable with that first cup of coffee, but eventually you got used to it. So just go, be a little uncomfortable. And if you can't afford to be at that expensive event, go to the one where you spend, $50 to be there. Go to the one you spend $100 to be there. You don't have to go jump into the $5,000 ticket rooms, or, like I'm in a mastermind that costs us $25,000 to be a part of. You don't have to jump into that room. You're not there yet. It's okay. Does that make sense? You start with where you're at and level up and level up and level up. And Look, they just have to have a little more money than you. They just have to be earning more than you're earning right now to learn how to get to that next level, and keep expanding your friends and growing your friends over time. You all rise up together. You know, the 100 millionaires, I was building millionaires long before I was a millionaire. I was a real estate agent helping people buy real estate, right? That's just what I did. I helped people get rich. That was my goal. I wanted to see good people get wealthy. Good people make good money. That was my slogan. I said it all the time. I help good people make good money. And I still do it, right? I got a lot more money now. I got a lot more experience. I got a lot more tools and tricks and friends and abilities to help people do that. But when I was broke, I said it. I make good people good money. I knew it was true. I knew one day I would do it. I knew that was my intention. Now, as a wealthy person, I got a lot more toys. I got a lot more tools to do that. Does that make sense? So all I'm asking is, say, when you get yours, give back if you want. If you want. Questions? Other questions? If there are no other questions, then I am
Walter, you're awesome.
Gualter and Dorina, from the bottom of Boston Maria's heart, we want to thank you for both of you being on when you're going through COVID. My goodness, really, truly. That shows pure dedication, people. Pure dedication right there. Their loyalty is bar none, right? They're here for you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Kelly.
guys. We're so appreciative.
You guys are welcome. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yes, or my hot toddy recipe. I gave it to Dorina in Messenger.
That
Oh,
includes
I'm so down.
whiskey.
Yeah, it has whiskey.
We have plenty.
Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, cheers to your success. I want to see each
Yeah.
one of you be extremely successful. Take action on something you learned tonight. The people who are most successful are the people who take action. They show up, they take action. So I know that you have success in you because you stayed as long as you did. Everybody else
Yes.
dropped off. So you have the ability to go be successful because you're still here. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
I believe in you. You believe in you. Cheers to your success from a choice. Always invest with the best. Good night, Kelly. Good night, Hannah. Good night, Irving. Good night, Marianne.
Good night,
Deshaun,
everyone.
Mike, Patricia,
Guys.
Sarah.
Get well, you too.
Yeah, get well, guys.
We're on it. Thank you, guys.
Night, get well. Hope y'all feel better.
Thank you.